FNCS is tomorrow, and in today's video, we have a lot to talk about in regards to setting yourself up for success for the most important tournament of the season. Getting right into it, the first thing we need to remember is that FNCS is for champs players only, meaning the tournament will be harder than the Duo Cash Cups we've played so far. So what exactly does it mean for us competing that you need to be champs to play? Well, what it means is that the first game, also known as the W key game, will be a lot harder than in Duo Cash Cups. Getting to 2,000 points, which is the threshold to be allowed to compete in the Duo Cash Cup, is possible for everyone, since you don't lose any points up to that point. But getting up to 7,500 points is for the people who are genuinely interested in the competitive side of the game. The question we need to think about is whether or not we should W key in our first game. The point format ratio is 65 placement points to 2 Elim points, more placement heavy than previous Duo FNCSs. So to answer the previously asked question, for most of you watching, W keying first game will most likely be a too big risk for a too small reward. Naturally, if you know that your strength is W keying, your game sense is very good, so you know where and when to take fights, then taking fights is probably worth it. Dying in the first game in a fight most of the time comes down to either underestimating your opponent or getting impatient. Me and Marcus have had 2 tournaments now where we've W keyed first game in a Duo CC and it has gone bad. Therefore, there is no reason on this planet for us to try and W key and fail again in FNCS. We would simply just be wasting time. Wasting time is also something we need to limit. 20-minute games where you get 10 points is something that cannot happen. So before bringing this to W keying tomorrow, remember it's champs only, not contender division like the Duo Cash Cups, and think about how your W key games have gone in the Duo CC to get an understanding of whether or not you should try to W key in your first game. Also, play to your strengths. If you're good at playing endgame, there's no need to W key first game. You do not need a 30 bomb to qualify top 200 teams. You simply just need to be consistent. Moving on, we need to talk about what to do in high elo games. A lot of you guys watching this video will win your first game, and you'll find yourself in a lobby with a lot of recognizable names in game 2. The problem a lot of people face when they are in high elo is that they doubt themselves as players. You start thinking about all the good players in the lobby, and these thoughts cause you to play differently than other games. What I need you all to do tomorrow is fully trusting your own abilities. Play like you do in practice. Even though you are in high elo, that doesn't mean you can't eliminate those good players. They are humans too, and you shouldn't doubt your skill. A lot of people think they need to play super safe when they are in high elo, taking less risks. But not taking risks is often the biggest risk of them all. If you see a free refresh, you should go for it. You shouldn't think, oh no, I'm in high elo, I saw Malibuka in the kill feed, I might die here. The second you start thinking about what can go wrong, bad things will happen. Next up, I need to quickly touch on the new zones Epic released yesterday. To those of you who aren't aware, the zones were changed quite massively. And I'm gonna go over those changes so you guys understand what that means for FNCS and how to perform. The new zones are dynamic, meaning they're different from game to game. The main difference we will notice in FNCS tomorrow is that in stacked games, like 40-man movings, the moving zones will move noticeably much slower. The zones moving slower means that we will have more time to think about the plays we want to make. It's way easier to claim layers in stacked games, and having great endgame awareness seems to be a quality that will pay off with these new slow moving circles. On the other hand, when games are unstacked, zones move faster, something to be knowledgeable of before queuing in to FNCS tomorrow. Coming up next, and one of the most important things we'll talk about today, is being a good teammate. There are many ways to be a good teammate and increase your chances of doing good this FNCS season. The first way of being a good teammate is being the guy on the team who brings up the vibes. If you notice that the vibes are down after something like your duo throwing a super easy 1v1, then bring the vibes up. This is an important tournament, and not doing everything in your power to do as well as possible is directly disrespectful to your previous self who has grinded and grinded to try and achieve good tournament results. I know it can be ridiculously hard to be the one to hype the team up, because sometimes you feel just as demotivated and frustrated as your duo. But being able to do it, even though it's hard, is such a good quality that can bring some great tournament results with it. Additionally, if you die early in one game, calm for your teammate and do not start raging. Be quiet and instantly think about what comms you would have wanted if your duo was dead and you were left in a clutch situation. What I like to do is simply say, I died, all you. Then move my body out of the way so I don't block my duo and start coming mats. I never come what my duo should do, and you should be very careful with doing that as well. A lot of people think that they have amazing comms when they are dead, but truth to be told, most players just want to play their own game. You saying you should run out that guy or you should take height might change an already good train of thought that your duo has. Try and also be as relaxed as possible when you are dead. You do not want to stress your duo out. Be relaxed, have clear comms about things like mats and where someone pulls, and let your duo do his thing. The meta this season, as we all know, unfortunately, is healing off. With the new zones, it's gonna be slightly better. However, it is still very much a thing that happens, and we need to be prepared to eat an unhealthy amount of pizza tomorrow when playing FNCS. Healing off comes down to a few things. First and foremost, to have the best possible odds of winning a heal off, we need to not take many storm ticks before the last zone is closed. Storm sickness is a thing we need to keep in the back of our heads. And if we actively think about not taking storm ticks during the game, and especially during the moving zones, we will have the best odds of winning our heal offs. In addition, we need to mark with our marker, not danger mark, not item mark, if we see loot on a body back in Storm. This is because when we or our teammate goes out in Storm when the last zone is closed, need that indicator of where to go to find extra heals. This is such a simple yet effective way to save getting the heals. Jelly Angler is out of the game today, and I don't think they will add it in before FNCS. So slurps, pizzas, small fries, floppers, and splashes are gonna be the heals to have. Although Jelly Angler isn't in the game, small fries are still a super viable alternative that takes just a little extra time to fish. Make a small fry base or flopper base and you'll win at least 2 games tomorrow. Lastly, I quickly want to touch on what is the easiest layer to play. Low ground, mid ground, or high ground. Naturally, this will be different from game to game, but if you have good awareness, you'll quickly understand whether the players in your lobby enjoys high ground or not. Because let me give you some incredible advice. If high ground is free and you have 444 mats, even in first moving, you should just get it and start skybasing. This is gonna be boring, but it is the freest top 5 of your life, even if you have no heals. High ground, when uncontested, is a blessing. Low ground and mid ground on the other side demands more aggressiveness. With the new zones moving slower, low ground is actually gonna be a lot better. The great thing about low ground is the potential for a bizarre amount of eliminations. The downside of low ground is that everyone who is scuffed will drop down and start psychoing you. Now, if you're good, this is naturally a good thing, but if you don't have full awareness the entire endgame, this could potentially kill you. Mid ground is honestly amazing this season, especially considering you have katanas and don't need to use a lot of mats. By the way, the ODM gear is worse than katanas in my opinion, as you can take full damage, and that's a death we just don't want to have in FNCS. To conclude, height is insane if uncon. Low ground is great if your strength is awareness, and mid ground is all around good. But you gotta have the guts to push players off your layer. Guys, that will be all for today. If you have any questions regarding literally anything, I'm live on Twitch every single day with no exceptions ever from 10 to 2 CET. So feel free to ask me there or in the comments below. Other than that, best of luck to everyone competing tomorrow. Hope to see you all on the leaderboards.